It's been a year since the Switch 2 officially came out, and odds are a lot of Switch 1s are starting to collect dust at this point. But I want to tell you, you don't have to give in to the pressure of having to upgrade just because the shiny new thing is out. You can still do a lot with your OG Switch. And the modding scene has actually been much happier than ever since there's so much you can do with a modded Switch right now. And there's not as much attention on the Switch 1 modding scene right now since even Nintendo seems to kind of be moving on. Now, don't get discouraged, I promise. It might look kind of complex, but it's really not that bad. I'm gonna walk you through everything, okay? So how do you get started? How do you mod this thing? What does that mean exactly? So out of the box, your Switch can really only run Nintendo's operating system, while modding your Switch lets you run whatever custom firmware you want. And in some cases, even run separate operating systems entirely. To be able to do that though, you need something called a bootloader, which is something that lets you pick and choose what custom firmware you want to run on your Switch. And that brings us to Hecate. Isn't that like a brand of beer or something? Hecate is the bootloader that everyone uses to boot into whatever OS that they want. It also has a bunch of other tools and lets you load other payloads to manage your modded Switch. It's really nice. Okay, great, so install Hecate and then we can start running cool moddy hacky stuff, right? So how do I get that? So the methods haven't really changed over the years. There's two different types of Switch modding, the easy method and the not so easy method. So older like launch model Switches have a hardware exploit that can't ever be patched out. So you can use something like an RCM jig to put the Switch into recovery mode and push a payload to your Switch via USB and jailbreak your Switch that way. This is great because it's super easy to get up and running and doesn't require disassembling your Switch at all. Now, how do you know if your Switch is old enough? Good news, there's a site for that. Just type in your Switch's serial number and it'll tell you if your Switch is patched or not. I'll link it in the description. Oh yeah, and if you ripped off your sticker by chance, you can still find the serial number in your Switch settings, so don't worry. Now for newer Switches, Switch Lites, and Switch OLEDs, those still require a mod chip. There's no way around that, and it seems as of right now that's how it's gonna be for the rest of the Switch's lifespan. Now back in the day, mod chips were actually really hard to even acquire, much less install. So they were pretty pricey. I paid I think it was like $50 just for the parts themselves back in the day. But now we have kits that are actually based off of the Raspberry Pi 2040 chip that have made this way more accessible. It's called the PicoFly mod chip. You can pick up a kit like this for like $15 now. Now, I really want to stress this. This is not an easy mod installation. It is very hard and requires you to delid your CPU and solder really tiny wires directly to it. This is not a beginner's project. I wouldn't even say it's an intermediate project because this requires you to know advanced microsoldering. But don't let that discourage you. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that there's no one else around you that can. Yeah, so in the last few years, plenty of modding services have shown up locally because everyone kind of knows what's going on, but they can't really promote it as much. So my advice, look around your local area for repair shops or game stores, text them on their Insta or anywhere else, and just text them up and just be like, hey, do you guys do mod shipping services? It'll cost you like $100. They'll install the chip for you, and you can come back and start fiddling with your brand new modded Switch. I mean, come on, I found some guy on OfferUp, paid him like $100, and he did it right then and there in his bedroom. Like it's really not that bad anymore. And that's pretty much all of the hardware side. Both methods are really just ways of getting your Switch into recovery mode. And then you can push the Hecate payload to it. On older V1 Switches, you can use something called an RCM loader that hosts and pushes the payload so you don't have to constantly keep it hooked up to a computer every time you want to reboot it. But the mod chip Switches will just store the payload and boot it up on startup automatically. Okay, cool, so we got Hecate, so what can we install? So there's three main big custom firmwares that people tend to install on modded Switches. Atmosphere, which is your typical Switch OS, but moddable, so you can install whatever you want on it. Android, and Linux. So we'll go over Atmosphere first, and most importantly, all the apps and mods that you can download on it. You probably held off trying to book that doctor's appointment because you hate having to figure out who to call, what do you do, what insurance do they take, see if maybe they can see you in 6 to 8 weeks. The whole system feels really outdated, honestly. But there is a better way with our sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a completely free service that's literally made for people like me who need to find a medical professional, but hate having to talk to people. They make it really easy to search by location, specialty, and even by which ones take your insurance. And check out reviews left by other patients that actually book them so you know that you can find someone that's a good fit for you. And when you're ready, you can book an appointment right then and there, with some doctors even offering appointments as soon as 24 to 72 hours after booking. And with over 150,000 different providers ranging from general doctors, dentists, psychiatrists, foot doctors, and way more. It's really easy to find someone that's right for you. You gotta take care of your health, dude. Scan the QR code over here or click the link in the description. Just try it out. It's free. And thanks again to ZocDoc for supporting the channel, because there's a damn good chance this video is gonna get demonetized. Okay, now let's talk Sphaira. It's kind of a hard name to pronounce, Jesus. Which is one of the more important apps that have come out recently. Now, back in the older modding days, you would have separate apps for pretty much all of your utility apps. An app to browse your files, an app for FTPing, an app for downloading homebrew apps. Well, things have gotten way easier now, and it's all thanks to Sphaira that handles everything in one place. Now, Sphaira has a built-in file browser that lets you look around your SD card, copy paste, etc. And if you press Y, you can bring up another menu that lets you connect to your Switch via FTP, MTP, or USB without having to use a separate app. You can also look through your save files here and back them up to your SD card so you can transfer them to a PC or an emulator or anything, and keep your saves backed up safely. Oh yeah, and it has this infrared camera viewer for your Joy-Cons. Yeah, I bet you forgot your Switch had this in the first place, huh? Now the frame rate is like 2 business days, but if you get it down to a low enough resolution, you can actually get a pretty decent frame rate out of it. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. You see how I got your address? Yeah, this is how I'm gonna be filming all my videos from now on. Now, Fajitas also has a homebrew app store that has a lot, and I mean a lot, of apps on here. I would recommend hitting X and sorting by downloads. That way you can get the most relevant apps on your Switch. Take a look around. There's a lot of really cool stuff on this app store. And once you install them, you don't have to do that weird holding R access to, access the homebrew menu and everything anymore. You can just add a shortcut to the homebrew app right from Sephiroth and open it straight from your home menu. It's really convenient. Accessing homebrew apps was a bit of a hassle before. Oh yeah, and there's a web browser in here, but it kind of sucks. Even the developers didn't seem very confident in this feature. Now, disclaimer, there are piracy-focused features in this app that I'm not going to cover here. I'm sure the comments can fill you in on exactly what that feature is. But because of this, most modding communities likely won't help you configure or set up this app. Like, good luck finding any help for this app on Reddit or Discord. A lot of communities just will not touch it. So just be respectful and just keep that in mind. Plus, some people also like having separate apps for different tools, which I totally understand. If those things bother you, please just go check out other apps like Gold Leaf. They're really good too, and does most of the stuff that Sudoku does. But I still think it's a really great tool that gets us towards making Switch modding a lot more accessible for normal people. So now that we have Sofritas installed, our modding capabilities just really start to open up now that we have a proper app store. So what else can we download? I'm just gonna go speedrun a bunch of stuff that has come out that I think people will find really, really useful, and then you decide what's best for you, okay? The modding community has made a great set of apps for those who self-host. Yeah, surprisingly, there's like no Plex or Jellyfin clients for the Switch natively. I mean, that seems kind of dumb. I mean, this screen is like the perfect size to carry on to watch like a movie on. Like, come on. So first up is Plex. This is a proper native client for Plex, so you can access all of your movies and TV shows straight from your Switch. It even has the same design language as the real Plex, so that way you can still see actors and related movies. And it has download support in full original quality. I think this is honestly great, because once you hook this thing up to like a TV or a monitor, you just have like an awesome portable Plex player you could just like have like on a PS5 or an Xbox or something. Dude, I've been really getting into Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is really good. Like this was a Nickelodeon show? Seriously? This is like the best writing I've ever seen in a kid's show. I just wish that they gave the studio more than they're just like $20 in total budget, because man, these guys were cooking. But don't worry, we haven't forgotten about Jellyfin people either, because for you, we have SwitchFin. Same thing, a proper native client for all of your Jellyfin media. Man, I don't know what the hell my lady be putting on our server, bro. Like, what is she watching here? Oh, and this one includes music too, so you can also play music from here. It's really nice. Now, I swear, there's a way to download music on this app, but I couldn't find the setting. But these are both really great apps though. Your Switch already has a pretty great screen. There's no reason to not have a way to also watch movies and TV shows on it. Mission Control, really cool app that lets you connect any controller to your Switch and lets the Switch read it as just a regular old Pro controller. And it works really well. Usually you have to pay for an adapter like this to be able to pair other types of controllers to your Switch, but Mission Control can do it without needing any extra hardware. See, this video literally saved you at least 20 bucks. That's Come on now, you have to subscribe now. Come on. SysDVR is an awesome app that lets you stream your Switch display to a computer. And they have a Mac client now. Finally. You can stream wirelessly or through USB, but I really just recommend you do the USB, honestly. Oh no. And yes, both the video and the audio output get sent over to the software. Now, it does cap out at 720p, and I personally don't think the latency is good enough to play directly off of it, honestly. But to me, that doesn't really matter because y'all are thinking about it the same way that I am. Dude, free capture card, boom, easy. Hook it up through OBS, and now you got a great way to capture whatever gameplay you want to stream on Twitch or something. Like, I mean, capture cards aren't really that expensive anymore, but like, dude, that's another 20 bucks I just saved you. Man, this is like the most bang for your buck video you've probably seen in a minute, huh? Okay, you gotta subscribe. Come on. Matter of fact, let me hold $20. Come on, I'll pay it back. Let me hold $20. Come on. Now, controlling my Switch from a PC is cool, but Jeff, what if I want to control my PC from my Switch? Well, great question, citizen. For that, we have Moonlight. This app lets you stream your chonky gaming PC remotely from your Switch and control it just like a Steam Deck or something. Yeah, imagine confusing the hell out of your friends with this thing. And it runs really, really well. Controls are picked up almost immediately, and the delay seems to have only gotten better over the years. I'm really impressed. Now, pair this up with something like Mission Control, and now you have a really dope setup from anywhere. It is really, really cool. Now, honorable mention also to Chiaki, which lets you do the exact same thing, but with your PS5. I've covered this one in the past and generally have used this for like a solid year because it worked so well. And the Switch is super light compared to something like a Steam Deck. It's 720p, 60 FPS, but that is going to depend on your internet, of course. Now, this is probably one of the most exciting things to come to the Switch modding community. This is Tico. It's a front end for retro emulators for your Switch. It houses a bunch of different emulators, GBA, Dreamcast, the old Nintendo consoles, etc., and lays out your library in a really nice design that might look familiar to some people. Yeah, apparently this app was heavily inspired by the design of another front end called Isu, but that front end is for dual screen devices, while this one is meant much more for the Switch, and eventually rolling out to other devices too. Now, the main focus of Tico is to make your library really fun to navigate. You can customize your home screen pages exactly how you want it, with some games taking up more space than others, and it has integration with Steam Grid DB, so you can add all the custom cover art, logos, etc. for all of your games. And it also has support for sound packs too, so you can get really creative with it. Now this app is really new though, so there's not a lot of sound packs right now. And a lot of them are either really loud or really quiet or just not mixed very well or something. It seems like a lot of people forgot to normalize the volume of their sounds when uploading these packs. But hopefully with this video that changes. I'll leave a link to their Discord where you can download and contribute yourself. They even have like a little program app now that you can just like makes it way easier to make these sound packs. Now Tico itself doesn't come with emulators, but the app makes it really easy to install. It's literally one-click setup in the settings. Compare that to apps like RetroArch where they have like 40 different settings you have to configure out of the box. You gotta set up your cores and then your controls and then your compilers, and by the time you're done, oh look, the Switch 2 went up another 50 bucks again. Dang it. Yeah, Tico takes that whole experience and makes it way easier to play all of your old retro games. From the original NES, N64, etc., all the way to GameCube and the Wii. Yes, the Wii, the Nintendo Wii. With some exceptions though, but we'll get to that. But yes, we can finally run proper GameCube and Wii on the Switch. Now, there are some asterisks here. For one, you have to manually enable the GameCube/Wii option in the settings to be able to do this. And don't expect all the games to run on here. I think the compatibility list is like 30% as of whenever I'm uploading this video. And this does require overclocking your Switch, but no biggie, just don't worry about that. Tico handles all of that for you automatically. You don't have to do anything yourself. But this is still a really big deal. Before, if you wanted to try running GameCube or Wii games on this thing, you had to dual boot into Android mode and then run Dolphin emulator through there. I cannot stress how much easier it is on here now, and it's surprisingly really good, and it's still gonna keep getting better. And the best part, finally, retro achievements. Yeah, that's the weird thing about Nintendo consoles. They never really seem to embrace the idea of trophies or achievements or anything for any of their consoles. But with Tico, you can just log in with your Retro Achievements account and you can just start earning achievements for supported games. I know this matters to a lot of people, so I figured I'd at least mention it here. It's a pretty big part of Tico's experience ecosystem thing. Only thing is, it doesn't seem to really consider touchscreen support at all. When I started moving around my icons, my immediate first thought was, okay, cool, yeah, let me just drag them around with my finger, right? Or swipe through the list of games in the game select page, but no, there's none of that here. I also wish there was a way to batch grab artwork for games because as of right now, you literally have to go one by one on every single game you own to add cover art. It's really tedious. But all of this so far has just been written up by a single guy, and all of it was written by hand. Now, it's still in beta right now, but I could definitely see this being one of the most important apps for the modding scene. It basically made emulation a lot easier and brought a Switch 2 feature to the Switch 1. Isn't that kind of cool? I don't know, that's kind of neat. Okay, so let's go over overlays. So using an app called Ultra Hand Overlay, you can get access to an entire system of mini overlay apps that you can access from any game or software on your Switch. If you ever own a Steam Deck by chance, think of it like Deculator, but for the Switch. Now, there used to be an older overlay app called Tesla Menu, but it's been like completely discontinued now. Development seems to have stopped about 3 years ago. So if you're just starting off, stick with Ultra Hand. It's the newest one that's still being updated. Now, once you have it installed, it's really easy to pull it up from anywhere. Just hold L, down, and R3, and you can get access to your Ultra Hand apps. And you can change this keybind too if you want, don't worry. Okay, cool. So what kind of apps do we have? First up is Status Monitor, duh. It lets you monitor your CPU and GPU temps, internal resolution, battery health, just general nerdy stuff that most people would want to see. A big feature from this one, though, honestly, is the built-in FPS counter. It's really cool when you want to see how much better performance you're getting when like overclocking your Switch or something. Oh, right, okay, overclocking. So if you ever wanted to overclock your Switch, SysClock is a simple overlay app that lets you adjust the clock speeds of your Switch. And it can be done on a per-game basis, too. Now, overclocking is always risky, regardless of how safe people claim to be. So this is at your own risk. But lots of people have overclocked their Switches for years and nothing has really happened other than just like a little bit crappier battery life. Okay, a weird quirk of modded Switches is that most of the time they always display the wrong time. This is because the Switch syncs the times from Nintendo servers and uses that to get like the current time on your Switch. But if we're blocking Nintendo servers so we don't get banned, that means we can't ever sync the time right. Fortunately, there is a tool to help us fix that. It's called Quick NTP. You just install it, tap sync, and you're done. You'll use a completely different server entirely to sync your time. It's really nice. NX Fan Control lets you create custom fan curves for your Switch, and it's mode dependent. So it'll change depending on whether you're playing dock or handheld. Oh, and this one's like really stupid. Tetris, but just as an overlay for people who are trying to be a Tetris maxer for some reason or some, I don't know, go play Tetris while you're playing Tetris. And Ultra GB, which is a straight up Game Boy Color emulator all running within the overlay. I'm sure there's some practical use for this, like Pokemon or something, but I generally have no idea why someone would want this. Oh, okay, you know how the Switch 2 got a boost mode for Switch 1 games where it can run like full dock mode, but like portably when you're playing portably? Well, you can do that here too, with Reverse NX RT, if you just want to kill your battery, I guess. But it's also really helpful if you want to combine it with something like FPS Locker and force a portable resolution while you're docked, so that way you can get better performance out of some of these games. For example, Crash Team Racing runs at a locked 30 FPS, which is, fine. But changing the target FPS cap using FPS Locker, we can unlock it, and with a decent overclock, get this to run at 60 FPS, no problem. Or 15 FPS if you want to do that for some reason. Now this is gaming. Now obviously the Switch doesn't have unlimited power, so you'll still see some maps dip down to the 50s, but it's still a really nice upgrade compared to some of the old locked 30 FPS games that you see. Systune is really interesting to me. It's a built-in music player for your Switch. So you can put music onto your SD card and play it locally through here. And even when you're playing a game. And you can manually adjust the volume of the music too, since sometimes I know I just want background music while playing games, not like full blast audio. It's really nice. So I started thinking, what if I wanted to stream music instead of downloading it, since, I don't have a ton of space on my SD card. So I've been looking into Jellyfin a lot more ever since Plex started to charge like $750 for a lifetime pass. Yeah, listen, I love Plex. I love the interface. I love how easy it is to set up. And at $250 lifetime, yeah, it was totally worth it if you just want everything set up for you. But the conversation kind of changes at $750. At that point, dude, if you hate setting everything up yourself, just like pay a dude to do all that for you for like $200. It'll still be cheaper than Plex Pass. Now, Systune already laid out most of the foundation for the music player, and turns out Jellyfin has a pretty great documentation on how their app works and how to pull data from it. So I made a little something. This is StreamFin. Consider this my apology for recommending Plex to over a million people. This overlay lets you sign into your Jellyfin music library and stream your entire library from anywhere, so you don't have to download music on your Switch anymore. You can browse through all of your artists and start listening to them right away, or hit Y to start a radio station based off of that artist. You can also access your playlists or just hit shuffle for your entire library. And the music is persistent too, so you can stream no matter what game you're playing and control the music volume separately, just like Systune. Yeah, I made this app because like I just sometimes I like the idea of being able to just like plug in some earphones and not to have like my phone and the Switch separately to be able to listen to music and just like chill out for a bit. Yeah, it's really cool. And you can go download this. Like right now, like in the description, go try it, go download it. I really hope this makes up for recommending Plex to a bunch of people. Oh, and tag me in photos too, because I really love seeing stuff that I make out in the public like that. Like it's so cool. But yeah, that's a pretty big look at all the stuff you can do with Ultra Hand. It's really nice to be able to have so many different menus at a glance. Just don't install too many at once, by the way. You can crack your Switch doing that. So yes, one of the big features of Switch modding is running more than just a Switch operating system. You can actually also run Android and even Linux.
1920 by 1080. Apply. Apply changes, please. Crap, it works. Oh my god. Okay, keep changes. You want to be super productive, bro? Go like pull up the dual monitor setup on your Nintendo Switch while working in a coffee shop.
Now, I wanted to show this off properly because some big news happened recently in the Switch scene as modders have found ways to finally get Steam games running through here, all natively. And the games do actually play. But it ended up being a little bit more convoluted than I thought, and I ran out of time. I think it really deserves its own video because there is so much more to cover here. So keep an eye out for that. I'm 100% doing a whole dedicated video to running Steam on this Switch.
Something funny that I found out. If you like rotate this, it actually like it actually does a vertical like desktop layout, which is the craziest thing ever. It's so weird, and it's like automatic too. That's like so neat. Look at that. Yes, sir.
Customization is a really big part of Switch modding since Nintendo decided to add in a themes tab and then continue to do nothing with it for the entire life of the console. And there's way more ways to change the look and the feel of your Switch. Now the first one is going to be just standard, basic theming.
Okay, bro.
Basically taking what's already there on your home screen and making it a little bit prettier. Now there's an app called Themizer NX that lets you look through at least 7 good looking themes. You can sort by packs or install individual tweaks. So if you just want like a different background or lock screen or something, you can totally do that here. I mean, honestly, just who cares? Just install a macOS theme on your Switch if you want. Fuck it, have 2 closed off ecosystems in one console, I guess. And now you can even change the way that your icons are laid out too. Like if you want comically large, big game icons, or like a 2-row icon setup like this is really, really nice. Really, you can start fiddling with this as much as you want. You just pick your theme, you click install all, reboot your console, and you're done. Your Switch looks just like a PS5, so now you can be reminded of 2 consoles that you can't afford. There's honestly so much here that you can customize and set up exactly how you want it. Give it a try. There's a lot to experiment with here. But this is still running on Nintendo's base operating system. Well, in the last couple years, there are now other front-end projects that are designed to completely replace the old Switch operating system with an entirely new interface. The developer Zortroll has created Ulaunch. No, not Ulaunch Shelf. Ulaunch, which is a completely made from scratch open source interface for your Switch that's really customizable.
Oh my god.
Now, this is still in early development, but I really like what they got going on here. It feels very similar to Android's material design. You can increase and decrease the app sizes, make folders, change backgrounds, change colors. In fact, they even have a web theme editor that lets you create your own themes that let you customize pretty much everything, almost to a fault, honestly. Now, if you're not as artistically inclined, there are other themes that can be found on their Discord page. It is a small selection and it's nothing compared to Themizer, but it is a start. This is why I like making these videos, man. I want to tell more people about cool projects like this, so that way people smarter than me can go and contribute to these things. Go check it out. I'll leave their Discord in the description. So, what do you think? Another banger? Did I do okay? Look, I'm not saying that the Switch 1 is somehow better than the Switch 2 or that you're gonna get amazing performance out of the Switch 1 when you mod it or anything, but I think there's still a lot of life left in these consoles. And with the way that prices for tech is starting to go right now, I think it'd be smart to try and find ways to get more out of the devices that we already own instead of trying to jump to the next thing before, oh, the price goes up again. Don't give in to that. That's what they want. I hope this video gives you some ideas on what you can do with your old Switch. And hey, after this video is done, go on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace. Start looking for places that might offer mod chips. Tell them that you saw this video and wanted to give it a try. Only thing is though, please just don't pay more than $100 for an installation. Don't let these guys swindle you either, okay? I'm looking out for you. $100 for an OLED Switch is more than fair. Now, modding a Switch is cool, but what about modding a PS5? Yeah, so I actually just recently figured out how to get Steam running on a PS5, and there is so much this thing is capable of once you release it from Sony's lockdown operating system. Click over here to check that out. I got like PS3 games and everything running on there. It's really, really cool. And thank you for watching.